Hi. So the concert was last night and it was amazing. And I want to share my top five takeaways from not just the concert, but this whole process leading up to it. Um, this is like the main things that I want to remember from it when I look back in 20 years and just some really cool stuff that I think might help you too, or just some stuff for you to think about how they can apply to your life. So, the first thing I realized was that I really love the combination of kids and music. I loved it when I was teaching kids English with songs through my Go Kilpare and Gozongo programs several years ago, and I had taken a break from it because I kind of got burned out with it. And now that I was back in an atmosphere where I wrote this song for the kids and was teaching them the song and practicing with them, and I got called a choir leader, which was so cool, a new role that I hadn't had before. Just being around those kids singing, it's very different from how like we as adults see singing, or I think most of us, like there's this free and raw and beautiful just singing. It's not this self-conscious thing. They might be nervous, but it's not a self-conscious, it's not too like thought through and mechanic. It's just this very free expression and joy that comes through. And so that was really beautiful to witness to not only my own daughter, but the kids at the school who were in the choir. Just really, really, that stuck with me quite a bit. So number two was like personally that I grew so much through this process with my voice development, my singing development, and I put a lot of time into it, which surprised me. And it also surprised me that how much progress I was able to make in a short period of time just by being consistent. I mean, it was a stretch of maybe 2 or 3 weeks where I was practicing singing technique every day for at least 30 minutes, some days up to like an hour and a half or 2 hours, and understanding, watching YouTube videos and getting more information online and blogs about how the voice works and how I can do some slight tweaks to improve. So I was so excited after the show. I was definitely tired, but I didn't feel pain. And I didn't feel pain in here, I didn't feel pain in here. I definitely noticed that I had more breath support, but it wasn't quite, like when I was on stage and singing, it wasn't quite like trained yet, which is okay because I'm new to it. One thing that really stood out for me was listening back to a couple of clips that I was able to listen to from others, was that I'm not on pitch. And like thinking about the voice and the projection and singing without pain and going high and low, like the shape of the vowels, like there's so much to singing, and pitch is like that next thing that I'm excited about exploring and training in myself, knowing that I still feel like the lyrics and the energy and the intent of the song is the most important thing. But this pitch thing is kind of cool, and I do want to explore, because when it is on, it's just amazing. And when it's not on, it's noticeable. And it's not necessarily a bad thing when it's noticeable, but it's definitely noticeable enough to detract from the message and the lyrics. So that was the number two thing that stood out for me from this whole experience, was the development, like how far I've come in terms of my voice, and what I still have to grow and explore. All right, number three that I wrote down was about visualization, because I use a lot of these self-development tools. You know me, I'm like writing about them, but yeah, I use them too. And visualization is something that I've really latched onto, and because it works so well for me, I want to do it more often and just really get into it, because the more I do it, the more it works. And like, for example, for this, like, not only have I written down in the past and reread that, this year I'm performing and I'm so excited to be performing my songs and it feels so great to be on stage performing, like all of that I'm training my brain on. I've literally like closed my eyes, I don't know, hundreds of times, definitely in the past year, but I want to say even in the past few months, just close my eyes and imagine myself on stage singing. I play it over and over and over and over and over and over again, and usually it's the scene of me in some type of an outside amphitheater with a bunch of like wooden, see how detailed? It's kind of weird. Like a bunch of wooden benches, that go up, and parents, mostly moms and their kids in the audience. And like, even though I wasn't outside in an amphitheater yesterday, and there weren't like wooden benches, like it was light, like it was outside type of feeling. It wasn't like a dark, dim room, which sometimes, they dim the lights in the audience and then they just have spotlights on stage. It wasn't like that. It was like bright. I could see everybody. I could see the interaction. I could see people singing. I could see people clapping, and like that vision came true. And in that moment, you just feel like, oh my gosh, it's happening, right? It's totally happening. So yeah, the power of visualization in our brain and whatever that other energy is that makes that happen. I'm so grateful for it, and I love it, and I'm going to keep doing it. So that was number 3. And number 4 kind of hinges on that moment. Number 4, not number 3. Number 4 hinges on that really like recognizing that it was happening. Like through the process, I felt like I was so present to everything. I was present to the major discomfort and borderline fear of showing up at the first band rehearsal. Like, do they want me? Can I do this? Am I good enough? What is this going to be like? Do I really have to interact with people? I'm just such an introvert and so used to doing things like all of that stuff. And then when I took the moment to realize, okay, this is just because it's something new. This is because I haven't done this before. This is because I have something to grow, to uncover, and an opportunity to grow. Like all of that, I was so present to it. And then on the flip side, the joy, the joyful moments, the exciting, the like, wow, this is happening moments. Like I was present to them. I almost cried. I did cry before the show because I was so happy. And I cried, I want to say, was it like the few hours before when we were at home getting ready? It just like, it kind of caught me like, wow, this is happening. And then backstage, this is happening. And I couldn't even look at my husband in the audience because I started to tear up. Like my dream. Like now I'm tearing up. My dream came true. Like my dream came true. The visualization, all of that I've wanted to do, all that I've been working for, like it came true. And just being so humbled and so grateful, and wow, now I'm crying, that actually happened, and like savoring that moment, and like even though it didn't go perfectly, I kind of like that in a weird way. In the moment, you're kind of like, oh, but then when you think back about it, like that's what's so cool about us humans, right? We do stuff and it's not perfect, but in that imperfection is it's a beauty, it's a humanness, it's not mechanic. And there's a place I know for things that are mechanic and things that are precise, but it's another side. It's an expression. It's an art. It's human emotion. It's the human experience. And I think it's right more complicated. It's not just like do this and you'll get this result. There's like, okay, what about this factor? And this factor comes in and that factor comes in. And it was just, it was really just cool to like witness myself experiencing everything and to just realize that it's happening in the way that it's happening. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Which brings me to my last point, which is the power of community. I've talked about human design in the past, and for those of you who are not so familiar with it, it's this like personality type assessment that I view it as a personality type assessment that has to do with like your astronomy and astrology and the astronomy and different types of energies and you can look at it so many different ways, but when I look at kind of my chart, there's something strong in it about community, which for me has always been like this, kind of like, what? Huh? Me? Community? As I said, I'm such an introvert, and I like to do things by myself, and it's uncomfortable for me to be around other people for a long time. I get really drained, and I get tired. But at the same time, there's this thing within me that I recognize too, even though it's a small part, and even though I've kind of been pushing it away, that community is really cool. Community is bringing people's strengths together and working towards a common goal. And what I experienced in the past, 6-8 weeks of doing this was the power of different personalities, different strengths, different schedules, different opinions, and different styles, just all of those differences, how they actually strengthened the process for the final result. And as I said, singing in a band is really different than being a solo person, because there's so many opinions, and it can be hard because you don't get things your way all the time. But at the same time, it's a good thing that you don't get things your way all the time, because some people have better ideas, and some people are stronger at something than you might be, and not just from the band, but from the whole community coming together, and the people that set up the chairs and created the pamphlet and the program, and the kids who did all the artwork and the sculptures that were decorating the place, and the people behind the scenes setting up the microphones and the sound, and like all of that, people I don't even know that had a part in it, that had a big part in it, like all of that, there's no possible way that one person could do it. Not only skill-wise, time-wise, resource-wise, it's just not possible. And the cool thing about us humans is that we can work together. And when you see people working together, and despite all of the conflicts in the world, in the big picture, and also these little conflicts and disagreements, like something really amazing and beautiful can happen. And being deep in that for a few weeks, a few months, a couple months, having not had that for such a long time, it felt really great, and it felt really inspiring, and it brought back to mind, Growth Harmony magazine that I was working on, and everybody has their own little niche in the world, and how we can bring those together to support each other, and that whole 1 + 1 = 3 concept, right? Just because of our synergies, and how standing alone we can only do so much, but coming together, there's that energy that swells and builds and is even more powerful. That's something I've really got to now think about, like how much isolation do I want, and how much of that discomfort can I tolerate, knowing that the community aspect of it is so powerful and so beautiful and so uplifting, and you can reach so many more people that way. So those are my top 5. Quick recap. Loving the kids and music combo. My own singing has developed so much and continues to develop, and will continue to develop in different ways. So cool. Power of vision boards and setting your brain and your mind on something. As I tell my daughters, it's the brain's reticular activation system, that when you hone in on something that you want, your brain is going to help you find those things, because there's just so much that we can see and focus on, but it's too much. And so the brain's reticular activation system is going to pick out certain things to focus on, and that's how they come true and they happen. And then savoring the moment, being present, whether it's something uncomfortable or whether it's a joyful moment, and just appreciating it all. And then community. And you're part of my community, which is so cool. So thanks for watching the 15-minute video to the end, as I know at least one of you will, right? So thank you for being here, and I hope I can get some clips up, or at least link to the clips of the performances. I don't quite know how all of the rights go, because this wasn't just my performance. So I'll let you know and put it up if I can, or at least link to it at a future time. But yeah, have a great rest of your day. And I don't know where I'm going from here. Like, I have so many songs I've written, the recording process going on, and outside my garden is flourishing. It needs some attention. So I will be back soon enough and let you know where my next steps are. But for now, I'm just enjoying the afterglow of a really cool concert. So have a lovely day. See you soon. Bye.